Bueno, Ron, al fin, gracias por estar con nosotros y pues bueno, te dejo con la mejor autoría aquí, Andrés, que empezará por tus inicios. Bienvenido.
Okay, Ron, welcome. And I got
Sure.
hi, and I got the luck to do the first question. This is from myself. Okay, what elements the 90 series got to generate impact and to even get crossovers? This question I do it because I know about your work in Seven Heaven, and also you were in VIP. This is one of my favorite series ever, and I even got the video game from that series. So I want to know, what do you think are the formula for these kind of crossovers and success from the 90 series?
Well, geez, I mean, VIP was kind of a I won't say it was an accident, but it was the original pilot starred. Hey, look, wait, I have to show you who's this guy in the right corner there. Who are you with the hawk and dove?
Sí.
Yes.
Oh,
Ahí está.
wow.
Justo le iba a preguntar de ellos cuando me
César,
toque a mí.
That's the best start, man.
Wow.
Wow.
Cool, sí.
There's-
Halcón,
there's-
Hawk.
There's two 40-year-old virgins in the room.
Yes. No, that's the best beginning from this interview.
But mine moved. I made this myself.
Wow. Él mismo lo hizo. Él lo construyó.
I used to make these things endlessly. When I wasn't writing something or fucking someone, I would stay home for sometimes 16 hours and just make those figures. I have a million of them somewhere.
Wow. Nos cuenta que cuando no estaba escribiendo o fornicando con alguien hacía esa figura.
You know who this is?
Oh.
Está muy cool.
Mon L.
Mon L.
Like Cal-El,
Yes.
only Mon.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
And you got many of these, no? You made.
I made many of these. And then I bought some because they were selling this. DC Direct was selling these figures that were so good. I couldn't make anything that good, but I would get them and then fix them up and make them what I thought better. So I'd fix them up like the Aquaman. And this was 20 years ago. I gave him long hair and stuff long before the movie and all that.
Okay, I will translate.
My experience with superheroes goes back, well, my whole life, but it as far as my life here, it goes back to after I think I had one job, and my agent, after my insisting that my agent get me a pitch at Marvel, who back then was like nothing, they couldn't get arrested. So I went into Marvel, which was at a place owned at that time by a company called New World. And I go in and I pitch him a show about you know, called the Super Family. And I have pictures of it on my phone, I believe. But you know, it was a family of superheroes, but by day, you know, one was a college professor, one was a scientist, one was, you know, so it was more like the Fantastic Four, I guess. And anyway, so I pitched this show where it was, I said, you know, hey, okay, the show is basically like Wolverine or Hawkeye comes out at the beginning and does a intro and then says what we'll be seeing tonight. So it's like, you know, got a very good adventure tonight. That was one way to go. The other way to go was just to do my script, the Super Family. And, you know, either way was fine with me. So they bought the Super Family. This was CBS in about 1992. They bought the Super Family. We're all gung-ho for it. And, you know, a lot of people, actors, good actors wanted to do it. And my partners, executive producer partners, was John Ritter and my lawyer, and they were buddies and stuff. So yeah, it was John Ritter and my lawyer, and I thought, you know, boy, can't go wrong here, you know, other than them saying we want John Ritter to play the lead guy. And so, wait, talk about that amongst yourselves for a minute.
Don't worry, I will translate. Dice que, bueno, que para el VIP, porque la pregunta que le hice es cuál cree que es la fórmula que pues se tuvo en las series de los 90 para lograr crossovers exitosos, como el VIP y Seven Heaven. Dice que él llegó, que VIP lo considera como un accidente porque él no pensó que el piloto pues llegara a generar la serie, y entonces después nos contó esta historia increíble donde él, en los tiempos que no estaba escribiendo o fornicando, hizo esas figuras, pero después dijo, así para resumir, que él siempre, su vida siempre ha sido la redacción de guiones sobre superhéroes, y él logró en el 92, cuando entró a Marvel, pero cuando Marvel tenía como una especie de filial, por así decirlo, de escribir algo que se llamara así como la superfamilia, que eso eran digamos, de día eran una familia normal y de noche superhéroes, y wow, Green Lantern,
Green Arrow.
y Green Arrow, wow. I was telling the history, y que eso lo logró producir John Ritter, el gran actor. Entonces yo creo que podríamos seguir la siguiente pregunta. Lo que
Okay,
fue okay, I will do the next question. I translate to my friends everything you said. I resume it. That was an amazing answer. But I will ask the following.
What?
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Yes. No, I was translating to my.
What country is this?
Colombia. I was translating to my friends the things that you told me about the super family, and John told me that I will move on with the next questions. Okay, this come, but you can tell wherever you want, because what you were telling was pure gold. As an actor, you appear in the movie The One. I think that movie got a really unique premise, like a story, and it was made back when the CGI wasn't a big thing. How did you get to participate in this project?
The executive producer David Morgan David Morgan, I think, or something Morgan. Mr. Morgan was married to a good friend of mine.
Mr. Glenn Morgan.
Yeah, and Morgan, him and maybe it's James. No, him and his partner. You know, they did a whole. They did like years on the X-Files. So they were, you know, very, and they'd had a big hit movie after the X-Files with, what was the movie where the kids are about to get on the plane and a certain, like 8 of them don't?
Final Destination.
Yes. And so they had done that. And that made a lot of money. So they were able to do something else. Unfortunately, they picked, you know, a very bad script. Or wrote a very bad script. The one, but, you know, they had Jet Li, so they figured, you know. And I guess they were right because, you know, I'm in that movie for 2 seconds. And I probably get recognized from that movie more than anything else over the years. Yeah, you're the one, you're Crazy Ron or whatever I am.
Rotten Ron.
And, but geez, my face isn't even on it for very long. But I will say this: doing anything with Jet Li is an amazing experience.
Wow.
And if you saw it, you saw that people were throwing stuff at me as he was taking me out of the jail. And then one guy throws a shiv right at my face. And you know, of course it was made of, you know, like foam rubber or something, but still, it looked like something coming right at me, you know, and the, you know, the piece was that the guy throws the shiv at me and Jet Li reaches up and snatches it right before it hits my face. And then keeps walking and acts like it's nothing. He just, so in between that, we shot it a bunch of times. You know, you got to get all the different angles and stuff. And Jet Li, who does not talk a lot of English, but I said, but some, and I said, are you sure you can catch that thing every time the guy throws it? And he smiled and he goes, that you don't have to worry.
I will translate. Okay, I will translate quickly. Acá hay una anécdota muy buena. Le pregunté, pues, cómo logró llegar a la película de One. Dice que, porque pues yo siento que esa película, pues, tiene una premisa única y fue hecha cuando el CGI no era, digamos, lo que está ahorita en el cine, ¿no? Él dice que es extraño porque en esa película creo que sale como 2 segundos. No sale mucho en pantalla y la gente siempre lo va a reconocer por esa película. Hay una anécdota muy buena. Bueno, él llegó gracias a Glenn Morgan, al productor. Dice que eso fue después de que ellos hayan hecho parte de los X-Files, de los Expedientes X, y después de que hicieran Destino Final. Cuando Destino Final hizo mucho dinero, se financió de One. Él dice que no es un guión muy bueno, pero que él dice que a salir desde reparto con Jet Li es una experiencia increíble. Dice que hay una anécdota. ¿Se acuerdan que él está en la escena donde él Jet Li lo está sacando de la cárcel y le empiezan a arrojar cosas? Resulta que le iban lanzando un objeto muy pesado. Él decía que venía con protección, pero era muy pesado. Y Jet Li increíblemente lo agarró y lo detuvo, o sea, lo salvó de que Entonces, Ron le dice como que, y Jet Li todavía no dominaba el inglés, como que tú vas a poder agarrar ese objeto cada vez que me lo lancen en todas las tomas. Y Jet Li le dijo en un mal inglés, tú no tienes por qué preocuparte. Entonces dice que tiene esa anécdota increíble. Continuamos.
Wow, César.
César.
Ok, mi pregunta va por su faceta como guionista. Él escribió un capítulo para la Liga de la Justicia Ilimitada y quiero preguntarle cómo se inspiró para escribir este capítulo, justamente de Hawk y Dove, algo así como Halcón y Paloma. Y si ya conocía estos personajes y qué le gusta, qué es lo que más le gusta de estos personajes, Hawk y Dove.
Cesar from Mexico asked you what.
I heard him say hawk a bunch of times.
Yes. How did you get inspired to write that episode from the Justice League Unlimited? That's the question.
What is it again?
How did you get inspired to write that episode from Justice League Unlimited?
Oh, yeah. You saw that?
Yes. César, que si lo viste.
Sí, yo sí. I saw.
I mean, they really cut up the shit out of my episode.
Oh my God. That's terrible.
Wonder Woman wasn't even in my episode. Wow. They put her in there, because they thought, well, nobody's going to remember Hawk and Dove. So we got to have somebody in this that people remember, and no. So they stuck Wonder Woman in it. And I don't know. I was disappointed with that. I like everything I do. The script I wrote was very character oriented. It wasn't so much fight as it was character. And then the fighting was in the second act, and it's like, yeah, sure, Wonder Woman. And I think they had Hawk trying to pick up Wonder Woman, which was good. Like he kept asking her for a date and stuff.
Okay.
I thought that was cute. But I brought back Hawk and Dove because they wouldn't. I'd asked DC a bunch of different ways to bring back Hawk and Dove. I tried to sell it as a series. I thought I'd make a great TV series, but with the ones he has, before Dawn was Dove, where it was when they were still two brothers. And I think that's an interesting series. But unfortunately, if you've seen that show Titans, have you seen that?
Sí, yes, I will translate. César, preguntan, obviamente yo sí, pero que si han visto Titanes. Titans.
¿El live action, no? ¿El que apenas salió? ¿O?
¿Es the live action or the animated one?
No, it's live action.
Yes, yes.
Sí.
So yes.
And it's very dark.
Mm-hmm.
Has he seen that?
Yes.
Sí, yo sí.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's great.
Yes.
It's great. I think that and like Cobra Kai are my favorite shows.
Wow.
I love Cobra Kai. It makes me feel good, it's like it takes me back to a time when everything was easier, and it was just wax on, wax off, wax on. Life was just that, it was easy. Wax on, wax off. And so that Cobra Kai makes me feel like that, just reminds me of those days when I was a kid and everything was easier, but I think what I'm thinking about doing is I found the first TV pilot I ever sold, and the rights revert back to the writer through the Writers Guild after a certain amount of years. So, and this was, I did this in 1992, and it starred Frank Langella. I don't know if you know who he is, but
yes, the one from Frost versus Nixon.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Starred Frank Langella. It was the only TV show he'd ever done, and he was just magnificent. Unfortunately, there was a Writers Guild strike while I was making that show, and so during a writer's strike, you can't go down on the set and give somebody another line, because they go, hey, I don't like this line. I go, okay, and you can't just feed them another line. The best you can do is say, come up with something. I can't write, It's like, come up with something. Now, luckily, I did have Frank and an actor, a brilliant actor named Xander Berkeley. You know him?
Yes, Xander was in the channel. He was one of the we interviewed before. Xander is in the channel. Before. Yes, Xander was in the channel.
So you know how cool Xander is. Yeah, Xander is the coolest cat in the world.
Yes.
And
he really loves to do superhero characters.
Yeah, he loves all kinds of stuff. He can do Shakespeare and anything.
Yes.
In that way, he's similar to Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Because Frank Langella can do Shakespeare. He can do a dumb Brooklyn guy. He can do.
You need some.
So I'm looking at this script and I'm thinking, I wonder if I rewrote this a little bit, changed some of the parts around a little bit. The show was called Dr. Paradise. And Frank Langella played Dr. Paradise. So I'm trying to think, who carries themselves, that's younger, that carries themselves like with a lot of gravitas, but is still funny. And then I realized my old friend, Esai Morales, who was in Titans, played Deathstroke in Titans. And I realized Esai, he would be a great Dr. Paradise. Put him in a beautiful suit, and because he can really, he's like I said, he's got a lot of gravitas with him, So anyway, I called Xander first and asked him if he thought it was a stupid idea or not, and he thought it was a very good idea. And to go after, instead of going after some big showrunner, Chuck Lorre or somebody like that, instead of going after someone like that, I thought, well, what if I put a cast together that the networks will go, oh, well, we can't turn them down. Look at all the, and instead of the I mean, I've been retired for some years, so I don't know how anything really works, but I'm hoping that might work. That I'm going to get, I got Xander, hopefully I'll get Isai, and I got an actress that I just love, who's always good.
Yendo al caso, resulta que él se siente muy disappointed, muy triste, decepcionado, porque en el guión original nunca aparecía la Mujer Maravilla. Resulta que él había escrito un episodio donde se tenía que contar incluso la infancia, acuérdate, Dove y Hawk. Resulta que él solo había una pelea en el segundo acto. Y fue que los ejecutivos se les ocurrió como que, bueno, aparece Dot, nadie le interesa a Dot, Dot salva a la Mujer Maravilla. Él dice que él tiene ganas de hacer una serie de ambos, de Dot y Hawk. Pero él dice que cuando vio Titans, dijo, no, wow, esto es lo que para él deben ser las series de superhéroes. Dice que se acuerda de una experiencia que tuvo en el 92, cuando con Sander Berkeley, Fran Langella, el de Frost vs. Nixon, quiso hacer un episodio llamado un piloto de una serie llamado Doctor Paradise. Obviamente está diciendo que Sander Berkeley puede hacer desde personajes de superhéroes hasta Shakespeare, pero él dice que okay, I'm translating the answer. I will take this will take so long and we will continue. Entonces dijo que sí, que él aún así, él quiere volver a hacer recuperar este episodio y meter a Isai Morales, el que hace Deathstroke en Titans. Ahí ya les dije todo. Okay, I translate to my friends, so we will wait the next question. Siguiente pregunta.
De acuerdo. Ahí yo le hago bueno, para mí es una de las que de pronto Ron recuerda mucho, que es The Cat and the Hat, es el episodio de Los Simpsons, que es, bueno, una de las más icónicas de él, la más querida por los fanáticos de Latinoamérica. Y la pregunta es, ¿cuál es el mayor recuerdo que llevas de esa serie? Y también, si en algún momento tú volvieras a escribir un rol de Los Simpsons, ¿con qué temáticas usted abordaría en la actualidad?
Okay, the next question is about the episode The Cat and the Hat from The Simpsons. And the question is, what if you got the opportunity to write another episode from The Simpsons, what things you will, about what thing you will write?
Oh, what I would write if I wrote another episode?
Yes.
Oh, good Lord. Well, that was an unusual time because it was like, the guy that runs the show said, I called him up and said, hey, can I do an episode? And he said, sure. Just come up with a story we haven't done in 26 years. And I was like, oh, shit. And to top it off, I've never seen The Simpsons in my life.
Whoa.
Wow.
And, so that's made it extra funny to me.
Oh.
I've never watched The Simpsons. That's why my episode, if you notice, the one I wrote,
is,
it doesn't have his boss or any of the peripheral characters in it. It's just the family, because those were the only people whose names I could remember was them. And even Grandpa, they told me. So a friend of mine read it and said, you forgot Grandpa.
A Simpson.
Like, oh, fuck, there's a Grandpa? So
you kill A Simpson.
I go back in the script, I open it back up, and I put in grandpa, I just sort of run him through. I give him a joke and then run him through the show, and he doesn't have much to do, but he's in there. And the two things that I wanted to preserve, because I know when you rewrite a script of a show that's already going, you're going to get rewritten like crazy. The staff is going to rewrite the shit out of your stuff. But I learned a long time ago from my mentor that what you do in those situations is where you're going to get rewritten a lot. You have to make your A story impenetrable, so that, like, no matter what they do, they can't get rid of, and in my case, it was Lisa and the sun hat. So, like no matter what else, they could not get rid of Lisa and the sun hat. And the other thing was, I wanted Bart to feel guilt for the first time. So those two things, were in it, and it was like, you guys, do whatever you want with it, but they couldn't get those two things out. So the show itself is, in fact, about those two things, and they rewrote a lot of it, but the sun hat and the guilt didn't get touched very, very much. So I was happy about it. If I had to write another one, shit, I don't know what I'd do. I actually had a story that they were doing something similar to it. This was my second story that I pitched them, was the sun hat. The first story I pitched them was that Homer gets hit by a truck.
Oh my God.
And goes to heaven. So it's like Homer in heaven with God, like driving him crazy until God sends him back.
Wow.
And he pops up right at his funeral,
And
so I said, that was my first pitch, which I really wanted to write that.
no, in fact, I had to tell you, because one of the oldest episodes from the 90s is Homer talking to God, and I think that need to be brought back.
They said to me, the guy says to me, "Wow, great first try." He goes, that happens to be an episode we're doing this season. We're doing a thing where Homer meets God and stuff. So that didn't fly, and the sun hat was my second try. He said, "Okay, we never heard that one. Go write it." So it was fun. It was, but it was a good thing to do. I was actually in the hospital. I wrote the second half in the hospital, undergoing this treatment that made me like a fucking vegetable every day. And I still managed to write it out on a legal pad and give it to this friend of mine that got it typed up. So, yeah, that was a close one. I don't think I loved writing that as much as I've loved writing a lot of it.
Okay. John asked me to.
But those guys, are really nice. The Simpsons guys, so nice and so funny. You know, I knew a lot of them that were on the show. They're very, very funny and very, very nice. So, but as far as, you know, if I was going to say, you know, as far as enjoying writing something, the comic books are way ahead of the scripts, you know, stuff like that. I mean, the comic books, I really enjoyed writing. You know, I mean, even the Rawhide Kid, like I was cracking myself up writing it, and I'm laughing. You know, I enjoyed it so much, and I didn't know it would get me blackballed from Marvel, but I certainly enjoyed writing it, and the sequel that people don't even know about. Really, the sequel is very funny. There's a sequel called the Sensational Seven, and that one's very funny too. It's a satire of being famous more than anything, really.
Yes, in fact, the last question, because I was listening to you, as this is the last question. What can we learn? What can we learn to begin and write a great, novel, a great comic book, a great,
like a script?
Yes, but what can we learn to write a good, a great comic, a great novel like the Rawhide Kid? This is the last question.
Novel.
Yes, a graphic novel.
It's I mean, I wrote mine like they were scripts. You know, I wrote them on my script program on Final Draft and sent them in, and the editor, you know, does whatever he wants, but usually they just send it forward to the artist, and then the artist does it. And you know, I had one great artist and one not as great artist did the sequel, which I never understood why they picked him. You know, he's a cranky fuck, and didn't, you know, like I wrote notes on the, you know, stage directions and notes on the side of the script. Yeah, that's how you do comic book stuff, and he didn't do any of it. It's like anything that I told him, you know, the way somebody looks. Nope. They all look like Howard Chaykin people. You know, that's right. I'll say it right here. Howard Chaykin fucked me good.
Okay.
That book could have been a classic, but you know, fucking guy drew it like a 6-year-old. So that was kind of a bummer. But still, like I said, the book is good. The content of the book is still good. I was saying about the story about Xander.
Yes.
That Xander thinks it's a good idea that I get all the, you know, all these people together and we go in and try to resell my very first pilot. And you know, so we're hoping I'm trying to get a hold of Esai and see if he would do it. And, you know, Lisa Edelstein is a good, solid name. Just go in with a bunch of high-paid actors and see if I could actually get my first pilot. If I could sell it and get it going again, would be amazing.
Yes. Wow.
Might as well try.
No, please do it. John, yes, we got to congratulate you, man, and thank you. John, ¿le digo ya la foto hizo?
Sí.
El saludo. Okay, Ron, please give us a hi, hello to the channel, to Colombia, to Mexico. Say wherever you want.
Sure.
If you want to share your social media, do it. And go ahead. The camera is yours.
Well, hello, Colombia. I hear you have really good drugs.
Yes.
I just want to tell you that I'm as big a fan as you are of American stuff, because I would love to go visit Colombia. That's no shit. I would just love it, and someday I will, and I'll do the same thing in the studio or wherever you guys are. I guess you're all in different spaces, but still, it is more fun to do these where you're, you know, the other person is right there and you can do whatever you want. But yeah, so fuck, I would love to go to Colombia. Gee, isn't it it's beautiful, right?
Yes. And it will be an honor to get this interview in an studio, man. I will translate. John dice que le gustaría venir acá. No iré lo censurable, pero dice que le gustaría venir acá y hacer la misma entrevista en un estudio.
Espero que sea así.
If I was coming there, what do I do? Just fly into Columbia Airport?
But I think there is a flight. But the thing is that John, okay, Cesar lives in Mexico. John and myself, we don't live in Bogota. We live in Cúcuta. Cúcuta is in the border with Venezuela. It's a small city in the north. But I know that you can take a flight to Bogota, and man, everything is possible. I got to tell you, this channel got no money. We hope to grow because we really want to do the interviews in a stage with the people, but everything is possible. In fact, being talking to you and back with Sander is like we now feel that everything is possible because we're in a small city talking to people like yourself. No, man, I'm so honored. Yes, we are so honored.
Thank you.
No, thanks to you.
Thank you.
Jen, leíle la foto. Okay, Ron, we're going to take a picture from the social media so we can share this interview. So please go ahead, pause or stay. Or show us a figure in the picture.
What?
We are going to take a picture from the social media so you can show a figure.
Okay.
¿Vamos a hacer una figura? Pues, chicos, nos bendijo. Por favor, que le gustaría que esta entrevista hiciera en persona.
Presencial, ¿no?
Presencial, no, lo censurable lo digo después, pero acabamos de hablar con una leyenda.
Well, I am partial to Green
Arrow.
Okay, please pause with Green Arrow and we will take the picture. Okay, John, tómala.
One, two, y... Yes, yes.
Yes. Ok, me despediré. ¿Sí?
Sí, yeah.
Okay, no, Ron, thank you so much. And we really wanted you made this pilot with Sander. We will send you the interview with Sander. No, man, it was an honor. I will translate everything you told, so don't worry. And thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Okay.
How do I get out of here?
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thanks
Bye,
so
Ron.
much, you guys.
Muchas gracias.
No, muchas gracias.
Yes. De nada.
Yes.
Ok, chao.
Chao.
Hey, let me...
Ok, sobre la pregunta del episodio de Los Simpsons, bueno, van a flipar porque él, creo que ustedes se dieron cuenta que él confesó que jamás ha visto la serie.
Sí, sí lo dijo.
Como aquí me adelanto al final, resulta que él le llegó a los productores y estamos hablando de esto creo que es el 2007, ¿cierto?
Sí.
O 2010, o sea, cuando la serie, digamos, no había caído tan bajo. Esto resulta, no, de hecho creo que estaba en castellano, estaba el elenco original. Resulta que él llegó con una idea, es que, voy a contar, le dijo, tengo una idea para un episodio. Homero es asesinado, o sea, es golpeado por un camión, muere, va al cielo, Dios no se lo aguanta y le vuelve a la tierra. Entonces yo le dije, eso sería increíble porque se recuperaría el arco de cuando cuando Homero habló con Dios cuando renunció a su religión. Dijo, no, fue algo muy loco porque me dijeron, miren lo increíble, me dijeron los productores, espera, hay otro episodio así esta temporada, él no sabía. Entonces él dijo, bueno, tengo esta idea. Le dijeron, la idea que tú tengas, y aquí ustedes me ayudan que ustedes lo vieron, yo dejé ver Los Simpsons en el 2005, y creo que sí, hay que decirlo, yo me da la razón y César, es el mejor episodio de esa temporada, porque es el más distinto a todos.
Sí.
¿Qué pasa? Es un episodio con sello Ron. ¿Qué pasa? Ron, el productor le dijo, hazte la idea de que te van a cambiar, los que te van a cambiar todo, porque fue muy gracioso que él envió un guión y él no conocía a los personajes. O sea, él no, en ese episodio no había metido a Burns y ni siquiera había metido al abuelo. Y entonces yo le dije, Tony, broma que acabas de matar a Abraham Simpson. Entonces él dijo, no, fue muy loco, porque yo dije, bueno, hagamos una broma, que tú te acuerdas la broma donde el abuelo sale corriendo igual y se vuelve a ir. Eso le tocó meterlo como una especie de broma, a decir de que le dijeron los productores, mete al abuelo. ¿Qué pasa? Resulta que él dijo, mira, a mí no me importan los cambios que le hagan al guión, pero necesito que respeten dos cosas. Que Lisa tiene un sombrero y que Bart es consumido por la culpa después de lo del... Y el episodio es muy fuerte, sobre Bart es consumido por la culpa. De hecho, ya me acuerdo de ese episodio porque él le daña un sombrero a Lisa. Resulta que él dice, fue bueno que me hayan respetado eso. Los productores son muy locos, dijo, esa gente está loca. Él dice que y es que menos mal fuimos a la última pregunta. Él dice que lo mejor que él ha hecho, o sea, y la razón por la que quiere hacer el piloto, pues con nuestro amigo Sander y con Fran Langella y con Isaí Morales, es que él dice que lo mejor, quieren leer lo mejor que yo he hecho, vayan a mis novelas y vayan y lean la primera de Rawhide Kid, la de The Leather Project. ¿Qué es lo que está contando? Que de Leather, aquí ya les tengo la traducción. Sí, Rawhide Kid, Slap Leather. Él dice que incluso ha sentido que con esa novela tan fuerte, sintió que incluso Marvel lo iba a censurar. Porque es muy fuerte, es Ron 100%. ¿Qué sucede? Él dice que estaba triste porque cuando se publicó el segundo, porque le dijeron, Rawhide Kid pegó, haz la secuela. Tú sabes que Rawhide Kid tiene una secuela. Aquí voy a buscar el nombre. Él dice, cuando él hizo Rawhide Kid, Los Siete Sensacionales, dice que le dio rabia porque él siempre había trabajado con buenos equipos. Por cuando le preguntamos nosotros, el secreto para hacer una novela gráfica, escríbenla como si fuera un guión. Él escribe las novelas gráficas en los programas, en los softwares que se hacen guiones de cine. Él redacta eso como cualquier película, bueno, esto es el pasado de los personajes, y lo envía, él dice, yo lo envío y generalmente tengo o muy buenos dibujantes, como en la primera Rawhide, o él después dice que dijo algo muy gracioso, que el personaje se lo jodieron, o sea, en el diseño de la segunda, y él le dio rabia, porque él dice como que yo hubiera podido incluso haber hecho la mejor secuela de un cómic reciente de Marvel, de una novela gráfica de Marvel, y ese diseño lo destruyó, o sea, como que lo suavizaron mucho de la descripción que él tenía del personaje, pero que dicen que quieren leer lo mejor de él, Rawhide. Esto, y nada, pues finalizó con el hecho de que él quiere hacer ese proyecto, dice que se va a ir con Sander como sea, y ojalá. A la costa, a Los Ángeles, a buscar quién financia ese proyecto, pero bueno, tiene a Frank Langella, Doctor Paradise, el 92, que incluso lo iba a financiar John Reader. Para los que no saben, que no están viendo, John Reader es el protagonista de Mi Pobre, bueno, la mala traducción de Mi Pobre Diablito, ¿no? De Poor Child, y John Reader después vino a hacer series, de hecho fue un actor muy querido que murió después, y él era el que iba a apalancar el proyecto. ¿Qué pasa? Pues nada, dice que al final nos dio la bendición, dice que le gustaría repetir esta entrevista en persona, dijo después un montón de cosas locas, dice que tal vez después tome un avión, y nada, los dejo a ustedes. Increíble, extraño, pero increíble entrevista.
Yo creo que si llega a tomar el avión y llega a venir a Colombia y dice, no, estoy en Cúcuta, improvisado.
Pues sí. Es lo que quieres, llegar a Colombia.
Hey, don't forget to follow your son, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.